Let's rap then, no cap, I'm captain. Bands elastic, the racks are wrapped in. See-through plastic, the camera's flashing. We live that life, 4-piece suit, she said I look so dashing. And I came to die, on my lap where I placed a napkin. This ain't just rapping, this a lifestyle you can't match with. Let's rap, get you tapped in.
Kick back on them in the whip that's foreign. Drip drop on them with a chick that's gorgeous. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got another episode of Let's Rap, sponsored by NokturnalTV. Today, we have the lovely Kimi with us. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Much appreciated. You know, I'm not really a fan of this like Zoom thing, and I would have preferred to do this like in person, but we'll get there eventually. You know?
Yeah.
What we gotta do.
Right. Let's just dive right into it. So, Kimi, like, talk to us about how you got started. And what kind of genre of music like you're into, like you like?
Sure. So genre is a complicated question, so I'll answer that next. But how I got started, honestly, I was on a completely different path. So I have a background in medicine. I'm actually I graduated med school. And
wow.
I know. It's like, what are you doing here? But I graduated, and the last couple of years of med school, you're usually in rotations, which means you're not like in classrooms, you're just getting like clinical experience in hospitals. And when I was traveling, I started posting covers. And then that one thing led to another. By the time I graduated, people were reaching out. What actually happened is someone from Toronto reached out, and they were telling me that they were doing a producer album and they needed different artists on them. And if I could write a song, then I could be featured on it. So I was like, oh, well, I'll try. So I wrote something, sent it through, and they liked it. And then from there, I kind of got to this position. So, yeah.
Nice. So are you more of a songwriter or are you more of an artist? Like what would you say?
I think it's hard to find nowadays an artist that's just a performer and doesn't write their own music. I feel like now in this culture, like you have to be your own songwriter, at least at first. I think I'm both. I enjoy the performing part as well, but yeah, I write my own music for sure.
Okay, perfect. And then in terms of your content of what you write, like what type of things, like what do you write about? You know?
So that ties into the genre, I think. So I'm actually Egyptian. I came to Ottawa. I lived in a lot of different places, but I came back here in 2019. The last place I was right before this was Atlanta, so that's where I come from. And in terms of genre and topics, I feel like I'm just influenced by all these different like experiences and musical types as well. That's why my music would, it's hard to really put a genre on it. And every time I'm uploading it on Spotify, it's like, it's so limited, it's so hard to pick, but I definitely love trap. I love trap, so I think that's what I vibe to the most. But I also add a little bit of like North African Afro to it. It's right. Our own little like twist of things. And so I love to add that. In terms of topics, I like it when it's like philosophical and self-reflective the most. But I also notice that sometimes the songs that do the best are the songs that just have a good beat and are like a little bit more lighthearted. So I'm trying to do that a little bit as well.
In terms of Egyptian music, like what's the type of music you typically listen to if it was to be an Egyptian artist?
As an Egyptian, like what the music scene is in Egypt?
Yeah. What would the music scene be like?
Sure. So there's a lot of Arabic influence in it, but there's a lot of African influence in it. Just if you look at Egypt geographically, we're like right in the middle of like Africa, Europe, and the Middle East. So you have a little bit of all of that thrown into like a mixer. Right. And I think obviously like American culture and that trap movement is present everywhere, including in Egypt. There's a massive trap scene there with like huge artists that are coming out of it. I would say that's like the type of music I like, and that's why what I put out is a little bit like of everything, and I hope that it's a unique enough sound that maybe that's like to my advantage almost, that it doesn't sound like anything.
For sure.
So, yeah, but like I would say it's as diverse as, like if I were to describe the music scene now in the US or in Canada, it would be just as crazy in terms of like all the influences. I think in Egypt it's the same, but add all that, Middle Eastern and African stuff to it as well.
Absolutely. And who did you look up to, obviously, to kind of get you motivated to want to get into being an artist? What would be in your playlist right now? Like, who do you listen to?
I think everyone's listening to Drake's last drop, right? I think I was listening to that right before our interview, but I also have a lot of like French songs. So some of my songs are in French, some are in Arabic, and some are in English, just because of, again, how I grew up. And I think I do have a little bit of all of these artists as well. So from like French, North African artists. I listen, like I feel like I'm gonna say names, people are gonna be like, who are these?
It doesn't matter. It's good. It's education.
Yeah.
It's good. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So an artist called Soul King. I don't know if you guys heard of him. He's actually pretty big. Like, but yeah. So him, Daju and Maître Gims, who are like big in France. I would say here, like it's mainly Drake, and then I love Don Toliver. I think I really do. I always like the on Spotify, like the weekly updates they have for you, like for
Yeah.
smaller artists. I just love to listen to that as well. So.
What inspires you? Like, so what makes you go into the booth or like just into your inspirational mode where you're like, okay, let me write the song, or what gets you going?
Honestly, it's the music. I feel like the music inspires you to write the correct lyrics that corresponds to it. I don't necessarily go in like knowing exactly that's what I want to write about. It kind of just you flow with the beat, with you know how you're feeling in that particular moment. And it's some days you can write a song in 5 minutes. Other days when I notice that there's a block, I don't even like push. You know, I just like I'm like, okay, leaving it alone. Let's like work on marketing. I don't know. Like,
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So would you say the beat makes the artist or the artist makes the beat? I ask this question a lot just to get that answer.
Damn, that's a great question.
The reason, just before you answer, the reason why I asked that is because, you know, obviously certain artists get pigeonholed to a certain type of sound, right? So sonically, you always know this person sounds this way all the time. But based on what you said, you're in so many different genres, so many different markets.
Yeah.
Like, is it the beat that makes you, or is it the lyric? Like, you know, that's what I'm curious to know for yourself.
It's a hard question because I feel like in the end of the day, you won't go towards a certain type of beat unless you're you, like with all your taste and your cultural background and your preferences that you've built throughout the experiences you've had, you know what I mean? And then you end up going towards a certain type of thing. So I feel like, and then that thing kind of tells you where it's going. It's like this weird dance that happens. It's hard to
Right.
like pinpoint exactly what happens, but I definitely do think that each artist needs to be just true to who they are. Like I think the worst thing an artist can do is be like, oh, that type of song, that type of beat, that type of lyric works, let me do like the same thing, and then 20 other artists do it, and it's like, is that the point of art? Like to just like sell the most because this is currently popular, you know? Like, so I don't know, I feel like it's really, you have to put yourself into it. So I would say, if I had to answer, I would say the artist definitely makes it.
Right, for sure. No, and that's obviously your opinion. Everybody has a different opinion with
Yeah.
that question. So in regards to like stuff you've put out recently, what can we look for? Like, do you have any new albums coming out, anything like that?
I mean, at this point, I think I'm still new, that I feel like I should just be dropping singles. So hopefully as many singles as I can. Like I don't, like the plan was like once a month, but then it's like, are you really just gonna put like half a project? Like I want to make sure that when I put out that single, when it comes to the visuals, everything else, it's like nice. Like, you know, I don't want to look back and be like, I could have done something better. So I want to just put out as many well-packaged singles as I can at this point.
Right. And then in terms of like doing what you do, right? I always like to ask this question, always, because pretty much with this LetsRap channel, we also obviously showcase artists, but we want to ask questions where you can educate others.
Yeah.
How hard is it to do what you're doing in terms of like studio and all that stuff? Like, do you need like a lot of money, like to do what you want to do?
I wish I heard one of your interviews before getting into it, because that would have been such a good question to like an answer to listen to. So the truth is, it's this day and time with the current COVID craziness that we're in, you have to like be independent and learn as many skills as you can. You just don't know when the next rule will be that you can't go to like that studio because it's now closed for like another month. So you need, like, I would say, invest in just being independent, and that's like not really an option anymore. So yeah, a home studio can get expensive, but it's a one-time payment. You don't depend on anyone. You don't have to pay per hour, that you're in the studio, where you can't necessarily let go and be creative. So that would be the biggest expense, I think. Just get your own home studio and set that up nice. And then I would say just grow a group of, like, you have to go to some sort of fan base, because it's great to have good music, but if no one's listening to it, that kind of sucks. So, and that, some people will say that to do that, you have to put in some money. I've tried it both ways, honestly, and I feel like you can you know, if you're patient enough, you can grow organically like a nice fan base as well. So I don't know if you have to put in money in that, to be honest.
Absolutely. How important would you say it is to remain independent in a world where obviously we have YouTube, we have Instagram, there's so many places you can now promote your own thing, Spotify. Do you think it's still important that you have to take the old, I would say like the old ideology where you got to sign with a label? Like, what do you think about that?
Oh yeah, I'm so anti-label. Like, it's like there's no gatekeeper. Like, there's absolutely no point. It makes no sense to me why someone would want to sign if you believe in yourself and if you think you're going to be successful. If you don't think you're going to be successful, I think it's great to go with the label. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, if you don't think you're going to sell, then that's fantastic. But if you think you can potentially grow into like something huge, the only thing they can really offer you is like massive fame, because they have those marketing channels that no one, like, no matter how good you are, I don't think you can be that big internationally, I think.
Right.
Independently at least. But it's like you're trading fame for like making good money, you know what I mean? And owning your shit and being creative and free. So like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get that completely, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So just in terms of like your future game plan, what can we expect from you?
I think just try to make sure that I have a consistent system where I'm releasing, you know, good quality songs that are creative and different and unique and still, you know, exciting. Keep growing a fan base that hopefully likes what I do, and see where it takes me. Eventually have a, you know, solid body of work, like an album or an EP or something.
Absolutely. What do you think about Autotune? Do you think Autotune is outdated now? Do you think people are overusing it? Like, how do you feel about that?
Like, it's an effect. It's just I think people are overthinking it, because it's not like Autotune is not one thing, right? Like, there's like a billion ways you can use Autotune. One Autotune you can like put up to certain levels. So it's really just an effect, and you know, no one, you know, I send my vocals raw, but no one puts those raw vocals on their final product. You have to have some reverb, maybe make it a little bit, you know, like you clean it up so it sounds nice and clean as if it was, you know, studio quality. And you put plugins to do that, and Autotune can be a plugin, like, you know what I mean? I think people are like overthinking it. Doesn't mean you can't sing. I can sing, but I can, some songs, I think when it's like a little bit trappier, I want to put some Autotune like a little bit in the background to give it that metallic, like modern finish. It's a taste thing. I think people are like very emotional about it. I don't know why.
Absolutely. 100%, I agree. And you know, everybody has a different opinion on Autotune and sounding the same sonically, you know what I mean? So it's all
I see. Yeah.
Absolutely. How important would you say to somebody it is to have a good support group around you? Because obviously, you know, you're doing music, people hate, people don't want to see you do well. So like talk to that really quickly. Like
just having a support, like
just like
family, friends, things like that.
Yeah, how important is that when doing music, like to have a group around you that supports you anyway?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to have people who are part of your mission, who can be a good sounding board, because you know, you can create 3 songs, but like I like all my music, but I know that when I, you know, make people listen to it, sometimes like, you know, my friends are like,
yeah.
You know, like, and it's good to have that type of honest, raw, like, you know, gonna be there whether you make it or not type of support. And yeah, I mean, that's important too. But I don't think that I'm just speaking to people who may not have that in their life. I think that you can totally like still do whatever, you know, follow your dreams and do whatever you need to do, even if it's on your own.
Yeah, you just kind of got to be confident, right? You got to believe in what you're doing, like you said, and be confident. So in just closing up, I wanted to know when you make it, because that's what we like to talk about. We like to talk when you do it, when you make it, right? And you make it big. What's the first thing you want to do?
Probably keep getting bigger. I don't think there's an end goal, to be honest. I think it's just like keep doing what you love and see where it takes you.
Right. And I think there's something to be said about being passionate about what you do, because as you said earlier just now, like when you're passionate, if somebody doesn't like it, you kind of like, okay, well, you take the criticism, but you keep kind of going. You know what I mean? Is there any other I would say any other social medias or anything else we can look for you at? Because I know we have you at Remen.Kimi Instagram.
Remen.Kimi, yeah.
Remen.Kimi. Is there any other plugins right now anywhere else we should look for you? Please do so.
Sure. So I'm on same thing on Facebook and on Twitter as well. But I would say like make sure to subscribe to my channel on YouTube because I do tend to post a lot of music videos and that hopefully people will like. So I would tell them to check it out. Just Remen Kimi, one word.
Perfect. And I think, you know, what we like to do is just talk about future. So hopefully we can get you in another interview just to kind of see where your progress is at, see how things are going.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but this was dope. Thanks a lot for giving us this information. We'll definitely look out for you. Thanks for the support, and we'll definitely support you.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks a lot.
Back on them in the whip that's foreign. Drip drop on them with a chick that's gorgeous. Yeah.